Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Al-akhillau yawma idhin ba'duhum li ba'din aduwwun illa al-muttaqin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that close friends, people who are close, tight, that day, which day, ikhwan? The day of judgment. Close friends will be enemies on that day of judgment. Close friends will be have adawa and enmity on that day of judgment. Illa al-muttaqin. Except for those who have taqwa. Except for those who fear Allah. Except for those who have ikhlas. Except for those who love their brother for the sake of Allah. كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. Fasting has been prescribed for us to attain taqwa, akhi. So if we are loving for other than the sake of Allah, we are not from the muttaqun. If we don't cry for the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we sin and we don't race for forgiveness. كل بني آدم خطاؤون وخير خطائين التوابون. All of the people of children of Adam make mistakes. They sin. And the best of those who sin are those who repent. How many of us repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Have we attained this taqwa last month? So now we have a couple of weeks left now. We have 2 weeks. Is our fasting going to be accepted? Is our fasting going to be accepted? We have a hadith from Abu Huraira, or shall I say, are we going to receive the true benefits from our fasting? Are we going to receive the true benefits from our fasting? There's a hadith of Abu Huraira, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, again, where he said that قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من لم يدع قول الزور والعمل به ليس الله بحاجة أن يترك طعامه وشرابه. And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in this hadith of Abu Huraira, he said that whoever doesn't leave lying, whoever doesn't leave lying and acting in lying issues and so forth, Allah doesn't need him to fast. Allah doesn't want him to fast. So the ulama have explained that the one who is like this, who doesn't leave lying, his fasting, the benefits of his fasting will be reduced. It will be accepted as a fast, but it will be reduced and he won't attain taqwa. So this is an example which is used for all of those things which are made haram. So yeah, akhi, Mr. Businessman, are you going to be honest? Oh yeah, akhi, are you going to tell the truth? Oh yeah, Ahlul Bid'ah, are you going to lie on the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Are you going to make fabrication of the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Are you going to deviate? Or are you going to come back? Because in order for us to gain taqwa, Allah said that we must leave lies in totality. And this is a principle which the ulama have mentioned, that not drinking, eating, and having relation are from those mubahat, these things which are generally permissible. There is no benefit for the person leaving these 3 things if they leave that which is if he doesn't leave that which is from the muharramat. If he doesn't leave that which are from the impermissible things. He's left those things which are mubah, those things which are generally okay to do. But he's not leaving the haram things, like smoking. He's not leaving the haram things, like backbiting. He's not leaving the haram things, like talking ill of scholars. He's not leaving the haram things, like sitting with Ahlul Bid'ah, people of innovation. He's not leaving the haram things, like stealing, but he's leaving his food and drink. This individual will not receive the fruits of fasting. So that is why it's time for us to prepare from now. Condition ourselves, so that we may attain taqwa. And follow the way of our Salaf. The Salaf, as is narrated upon them, the Salaf would call and invoke Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 6 months before Ramadan, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawfiq and prosperity in that fast that is coming. 6 months before. The Salaf will prepare. They'll prepare for Ramadan 6 months before. And then, after the Ramadan, they'll call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for another 6 months. That Allah will accept their fasting. So it's from the way of our Salaf, because we're Salafis, is that we prepare from now, from 6 months before, for this month for Ramadan. In order that we may attain taqwa. In order that we may attain taqwa. And the Prophet ﷺ said, taqwa hahuna. He said taqwa is here, and he pointed to his chest. So if we are not preparing, we are not conditioning ourselves now, how do we accept to turn the night before? As Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned, Salafiyya is ubudiyya, is servitude. All aspects of the religion. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us to worship Him. And from the pillars of ibadah, from the pillars of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are hope. So in this month of Ramadan, we must hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hope that Allah accepts our fasting. Hope that we may attain taqwa. Hope that we may increase in the love of Allah. Hope that we may increase in truthfulness. Hope that we may increase in tamassuk and sticking to the sunnah. Hope that we may increase in all that is good. And we fear, which is the second pillar of ibadah and worshipping, that we fear that our deeds are not accepted. That we fear that we leave this month of Ramadan worse than we entered. These are the pillars of worship. We fear that we may be taken by our desires and do other than that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to do. And the main pillar of worship is love of Allah. The main pillar is love of Allah. So we do all that we can do in this month of Ramadan to increase in the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By fasting according to the rules and regulations. By praying according to the sunnah. By giving charity. By dhikr, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By reading the Qur'an and understanding it. By reflecting on the Qur'an. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبُّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Do they not reflect? Do they not contemplate? Do they not think deeply about the Qur'an? وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ. And if it was from other than Allah, لَوَجِدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. They'll see in it a lot of contradictions. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبُّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Do they not reflect on the Qur'an? عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ أَفْقَالَهَا. Or are their hearts locked away, dead? So in this month of Ramadan, we have to increase in the tilawah of Qur'an. It's the month in which the Qur'an was revealed as a guidance and clarification and a criterion. So all of these virtues, akhi, it's time for us to reflect on this. And there are many virtues. Listen to the tapes of the ulama. We have access to internet. We have talks from Sheikh bin Baz on Siyam, fasting. We have talks from Sheikh Uthaymeen on fasting, rahimahumullah. We have talks from Sheikh Albani on fasting. We have translated books on fasting. It's time for us to study now. We shouldn't wait until the first night of Ramadan and we begin. We begin now. As is narrated in the hadith of the Prophet, that the most month he used to fast apart from Ramadan was this month. Was this month. So I advise myself firstly, and I advise myself again, and I advise my brothers to reflect upon this month, the reward of paradise in this month, the gates of hellfire being locked up in this month, the door that is prescribed for the people of fasting in this month, the protection from the hellfire in this month, the taqwa that is gained in this month, the muhabba, the love of Allah which is gained in this month. We shouldn't waste this, akhi. It is an opportunity. It is time now. If we haven't started before, we start from now. read, listen, reflect. As the Salaf used to say, Man arrafa rabbahu, whoever knows their Lord, ata'ahu, he will obey his Lord. فَإِنْ أَطَاعَهُ, and when he obeys his Lord, أَحَبَّهُ اللَّهُ, Allah will love him. So we gain the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهِ. Say, if you love Allah, فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبُكُمُ اللَّهِ. Then follow me, and follow the sunnah of Mustafa, and Allah will love you. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.